Okay, good morning, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. Well, I've been away on holiday for a week since I uploaded the last video. Been away in Paris, had a really lovely time, visited the places I really wanted to see. So now I've come back home and I'm in the garden this morning doing a few bits and pieces, clearing the garden ready for next year's growing season, getting the beds ready, harvesting anything that is still left over. So I've got beetroot left to pick, some Brussels sprouts left to pick. So yeah, there's lots going on, and there's also a lot to take up to the council tip. So I'll come back to you guys in a bit. I'll give you a guided tour and I'll show you what's going on Nick's Veggie Patch. Okay, it's just started raining down here at Nick's Veggie Patch, but as you can see, the main raised bed in front there, I've been clearing that this morning, getting that ready for next year. So the only thing left in there in the right hand corner is some beautiful Brussels sprouts ready for a lovely Christmas harvest. I've got 3 raised beds down this side here to kind of clear. Two of them have got kale in, which is still producing, so take some kale today for lunch. But the one closest to us, where my finger is pointing, that did have chard in it, but it didn't really come to much in the end. Trying to sow the last lot of chard, so going to be clearing that raised bed eventually. But as I say, this main raised bed here at the front's been cleared. Right at the back by the shed, you can just see it there, my raised planter that has also got some kale in it. So we've got excuse me, a fair bit of kale to pick. And then it is basically, I'm just going to bring you back a bit, guys. I've just literally cleared these 2 raised beds here in front of me, getting them ready to take either my garlic or broad beans when I've got them sowed. So got a few varieties of broad beans that I'm going to be sowing this year or for next year. Excuse me. And I've drawn a plan of what's going to be going in the raised bed. So we're only essentially going to be growing what we kind of eat. So having watched Charles Dowding and Ben Van Heens at growveg.com, they've said maybe look at next year making your garden more productive by growing the things you eat a lot of and not just growing for the fun of it. In the past, yes, I will admit, I don't eat a lot of vegetables, hardly any. There are some vegetables now I'm trying, I'm liking them. So in the past, I just grew for fun. Not for fun, but I grew because I wanted friends and family to have some nice, fresh vegetables. But this year, going to be planned out. I've also got a PVC cage that's going to be going around this raised bed here, made out of PVC tubing, and then it's going to have the wire mesh that we had around it when we were using the bamboo canes, which I've all collected up now and put in the very corner there by the right hand side of the shed. But yeah, we're going to be putting a new structure around this raised bed to stop the cats, stop our cats from getting in, and to protect our crops more. And then if it needs be, certain things will be covered over with white cloth just to protect it from the frost. So things like broad beans that I sow out, to keep them protected. So yeah, there's a lot going on up here. I'm also going to be building a new raised bed, which is going to go just here, and I'll just swing around. Excuse me. I've got my new cold frame built, my out sunny cold frame. That's got a few bits in it, keeping them protected from like any of the harsh frost we're going to be getting from now till spring. And I'm also going to be trying out some new organic compost. It's by a company called Grow More. It's black gold organic all-purpose compost. It's a premium compost produced in faster growth and higher yields. I saw that advertised, or it was on Charles Dowding's YouTube channel. He was sort of giving it the once over, saying how good it was. It's also got something called urban worm in it. So basically it now contains high potency worm casts. So basically when worms, I gather, shed their casts, and it's all mixed in. And it's obviously living soil boost for thriving plants. So yeah, gonna give that a go. That came yesterday. So yeah, there's lots going on, and I'll show you the rest of the garden in a moment when the rain sort of holds off. I was trying to break some concrete paving slabs up, which are just in the corner, but it's obviously started to rain and I can't do any more at the moment. But I've got about 2 or 3 bags that I can take up to the council tip, and yeah, we'll go from there. So as I've said, lots to be going on, lots, obviously a couple of things still left to harvest, obviously like the Brussels sprouts and the beetroot, and then get stuff ready for the growing season for next year. Right guys, I brought you into the greenhouse because I can't do any more outside because it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. So I've decided to come and have a little bit of a tidy up here in the greenhouse, and also to do some sowing ready for next year's growing season, because a lot of people don't realise the growing season doesn't actually come to an end. If you've got the facilities in your garden or on your allotment or wherever you grow stuff to kind of still carry on sowing stuff, you can still do it. So I've obviously got a greenhouse here that's insulated with bubble wrap, so during the day if there is any sun, any heat, then the bubble wrap traps it. I've also now got my new grow cage up on the patio, my out sunny grow cage, which will basically, it's got like 2 shelves on it, or 3 shelves, and that will also keep stuff nice and warm if you want to grow stuff ready for next season. So excuse me. the things that I am going to be sowing today, or look at sowing, I've got, I didn't realise, but I've got 4 lots of broad beans. Now they're not all the same variety, they are different varieties, so I'm going to be going over the 4 different varieties that I've got. I did tell you in a couple of previous videos of what broad beans I was going to be sowing for next year's growing season. Obviously, as I've said, you know, we're going to not grow just loads of stuff. I'm not going to grow loads of stuff just for the fun of it. So it is going to be growing a lot of stuff that we kind of we eat, or the wife eats more than I do on certain things. And then I've also got a variety of pea, a new variety of pea that I'm going to sowing and growing, because I've had a clear out of all my seeds. I've got rid of loads. I think I got rid of a whole bag full of seeds. A lot of them were out of date. Some were saying 2014, 2015 on that I was given or gifted. So I've got rid of them. And it's basically scaling back. So literally only sowing what we're going to eat. So obviously the first variety that I will show you that I do grow, and this is from the seed company Sutton's, and it is actually rightly named the Sutton, the broad bean, the Sutton. It's basically a wonderful dwarf type of broad bean. You get bigger and better crops, obviously, with the Sutton, and it's also ideal for pollinators, especially honeybees, because they love that sweet nectar you get from your broad bean, and you get beautifully sweet pods. And with with the Sutton as well, you can sow now anywhere from November, even right through till the middle of July, and then you can get a harvest anywhere from April through to October. But if you go into year 2, because you've sown in November, December time, you can look at having a harvest in April and May. So obviously it's an old favorite. This one has also been so this one is also successionally sow or freeze surplus harvest. It's been awarded the RHS Award of Garden Merit for this variety. So yeah, that's one of the varieties that I'm gonna sow. It might sound a lot of broad beans, but some of them may not germinate. And if they do, yes, we're gonna have a lot of broad beans. But I do like to sow a lot, to grow a lot, to obviously freeze. So blanch them, freeze them. So it's my way of saying, right, I don't have to go to the supermarket to get on my vegetables for the wife. And also I like to grow for family and friends. So yeah, that's another big thing. So the next one I'm going to be sowing, this is a very good variety. It's a very popular autumn sowing broad bean. It's very tasty, it's nutritious beans, and this is called Aqua Dulce Claudia. I saw this on one of my fellow YouTubers videos that I follow. I think this was from when I was watching a video, Jesse at Plot 37, or it might have been Charles Dowden. But yeah, so that's the second one I'm going to be sowing. The third one I'm going to be sowing is called Demonica. You can sow this one for both a spring or an autumn harvest. So basically you can sow this one between October and December and February and March, and you harvest between April and July. It's early delicious pods, and it will grow in low light conditions. This one has also been given the RHS Award of Merit, so that's another one I'm going to be sowing. And the final one of broad beans that I'm going to be sowing are Veroma. These ones you sow from October to April. They're an incredibly tasty bean, again given the RHS Award of Merit. These ones you get high yields of a long well-filled pod. It thrives whether sown in autumn or spring. So yeah, there's 4 lots there that I'm going to be sowing. So I've got lots of trays ready for them to go into, which I will show you some of the trays that I'll be using. I like to use some of these polycarbonate trays. I think they're really good. I get them from the garden centre that I go to sometimes when I buy some bits and pieces, but I think these are absolutely brilliant. Charles Dowding, that I follow on YouTube, always says if you can have these, keep hold of them. They come in very handy. He's got a really good one which I believe excuse me, if you stuck these two together it would look like that, and he says he's had it since 1983. So yeah, I'm going to be using those. I've also got my grow light propagators, which are these things here. So the lights will actually slot into the top. They've got vents here where you can either let in kind of the air or close them to not let in any air, or if you want to let out any moisture. And these are a 40 cell tray, so they do come out of the tray. So just to show you there, 2 different compartments. And then my lights are inside the house because obviously I don't want them out here. So yeah, that's one of the trays that I'll be using for when I start growing. I won't probably use these on the broad beans, but yeah, one of the trays I probably will be using for the broad beans if I can find them. Well, I will definitely be using this one. Now this this tray, absolutely brilliant. It comes from a company called Containerwise. You can get it off of Amazon now. You can get these trays that are from Containerwise on Amazon now. It's brilliant. It got 7 cells going down. Excuse me. And it's the perfect depth for sowing things like broad beans or peas, because it's the perfect sort of length to enable your broad beans or your peas to get that depth they like to have. Then you'll just be able to literally pull them out nice and gently. They'll pop out because they've got holes underneath. They'll pop out, and basically you want a good taproot. So then literally you can pull these out. And obviously the dibber that I use, I've got several, but this is my favorite. This is the Charles Dowding dibber. I brought this This year when I went to Charles Dowding's open day at Homemakers, absolutely brilliant. It was, I think it was about 25 quid, but it's perfect, and you just have to tiller that into the ground and then you get the perfect depth for your seeds. So yeah, I'm going to be using those. I've also got I have also got Charles Dowding's seed trays that I'm also going to be using, which are these ones here. These are the ones that he designed with container wise, and these are a 60 cell. So these would be just as good as that large one there to do peas, even your broad beans in. So yeah, that's just a few of the trays that I am going to be using this year. So what I'm going to be doing now, guys, I'm going to crack on, have a bit of tidying up, and then do a bit of seed sowing, and I'll come back to you when I'm doing the seed sowing. Right, so I've got the first module tray ready to go for sowing broad beans. The first variety I'm going to be sowing is the Sutton. Now these cell trays are the cell trays that Charles Dowding designed. They have obviously a lovely tap. They obviously have a lovely depth, so you can get that lovely tap root on peas, broad beans, etc. These are a 15 cell tray compartment, so I've got 4 of these. They each cell has 15 compartments. I also have the double one, so I've got 2 of those. Again, they have 15 cells, so those are 30 cells in total. Then I also have the 60 cell module tray that Charles Dowding designed, and obviously the one that I bought from Amazon, which is just here. That isn't a Charles Dowding one, but that is one that obviously you can buy if you go onto Containerwise direct, but they also start selling them now on Amazon. So I've got some peat-free multi-purpose compost here. This one is got added John Innes in it, and I've just filled the tray and I've pressed them down, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay the broad bean, I'll just show you on one tray. I'm going to lay it flat like that. You don't have to turn it up the other way, so you don't have to turn it up that way and place into the tray. You can turn it up, so you can turn it that way, and the broad bean will find its root, will find a way of coming out. Now obviously this is the Sutton. It said on the packet there was 45 seeds in the packaging. There were only about, I think 40, may have been 45, but there were a few that were damaged in the packet. So yeah, so I've got about 40 seeds there. I'm just going to put them into these cell compartments, cover them over with a little bit more compost, water them, and then get them on my shelf. So obviously these ones will come in the greenhouse here. It should be fine because I've got the bubble wrap to give it more warmth and protection. But I've also got my outside sunny grow cage up the top. I can never ever remember the actual proper name for it. I always forget it, so I just call it a grow cage. And I can put stuff in there. I have got stuff in there ready to go out onto the plot. So, but that will be for another video. So yeah, I'll crack on, get these in, get a label for them, water them, and get them on the shelf ready to go. And I'll show you what they look like in a minute, guys. So there we have it, guys. 2 lots of broad beans sown. One is called the Sutton, and the other variety is called Demonica. So they've been sown into these 15 cell module trays, cover them over with another light sprinkling of compost, and I've just given them a really good water, and now I'll put them onto my shelf here in the greenhouse. Hopefully they'll germinate and the broad bean will be able to basically go down into the tray, so I should have no worries about it coming up and sowing them. We'll see what happens from this sowing and see how many we've got. As I've said, 2 trays of each, and there is 30 of the Demonica and 30 of the Sutton. Right, guys, as you can see, I've finished off the 2 first sowings of broad beans, which was the Sutton and Demonica. I'm now going to do 2 more sowings of broad beans and 1 sowing of peas. So I'm going to get cracking on and get to the stage where I'll be sowing the peas and the broad beans. I'm just going to sift some of this lovely compost that I've got, and then I will come back to. So it's another 2 sowings of broad beans and a sowing of peas. I'm not worried about how many broad beans I might end up with, because I've got plenty of space out in the garden. But it'll literally, because it is obviously starting to get dark here now, you know, there is still some light. So I'm going to try and get these last few in today before I do anything else. Once these have been sown, it's literally then going to be a case of getting my garlic in and my onion sets in, because or one lot of my onion sets, because the other ones went a bit funny in the bag, so I've had to throw them away. So I've got 1 onion set to get in, 2 garlic sets to get in. Haven't got them in yet, but that doesn't matter, because, you know, anywhere from October through now till January, and it's perfect now because we're getting those frosts in, and you need a really good heavy frost to really develop the garlic, as in splitting the bulb. So basically, you get the hard frost, your garlic's in the ground, you get the really hard frost, it starts to split the bulb, and that basically sends the signal to the garlic. Now you've got to start producing little bulbs. So the garlic I'll be getting in either in the week or next weekend, along with the onion set. But as I've said, just going to get last 2 lots of broad beans in. I'm not doing a whole packet, and a few peas. So I will start that process, and I will come back to you guys in a short while. So guys, that's the peas sown, and that is the variety called Dulce Provence. So good for a spring or autumn sowing. So I've sown them now, obviously in December, and hopefully should see some germination within the next week or so, and then hopefully I'll have a wonderful crop of peas for next year. So they're on the shelf next to the 2 varieties of broad beans. So there is in this seed packet about 100 just over 100 or so of these pea seeds. So obviously I'm not going to do them all, so just going to fold the packet back over, and these will go back in my seed tray in one of my seed compartments that I've got in my study. So yeah, so 2 lots of broad beans and one variety of pea, and I've done, so got 60 peas basically, because there is 15 to each compartment, so those are double compartments, so they both hold 30 on each. I might not get 60 peas germinate, but you never know. And then all I've got left to do is 2 more varieties of broad bean, and we'll see if they germinate or not. So that's it for this bit, guys, and I'll end the video shortly. Okay guys, out of this variety of broad bean called Vorma, the packet told me there was approximately 50 seeds, and I got about 61, 62 seeds. So I've sown about 50 of them. They won't all germinate, but there were 8 seeds that were damaged, so in the packet, broken up, obviously transportation, whatever. And then I had about 4 seeds left over. Haven't put them in, but they're in a pot and I've labelled them so I know what variety they are. But look guys, if you watch this video and you think, Jesus Christ, how many's he's sown, a lot of these all of the time will not germinate, because you can't always guarantee how fresh the seeds are. I mean, I've watched my fellow YouTubers, and you know I go on about them all the time, and one of my favourite YouTubers, Charles Dowden, says you can't always guarantee what they tell you on the packet for date wise is accurate. So so I'll give you a for instance. So here, which is Aquadulce Claudia, it says packed year 2025. So they're saying it was packed this year, and you have to sow it by 2027. Sometimes what Charles is saying is, how can you guarantee these seeds are absolutely fresh? They have to put that on there for UK regulations. They'll also tell you an average approximate of how many seeds are in here. This says 45, but until I open them up I won't know. But yeah, so all of these seeds might not germinate, and if they do, then brilliant, I'll get them in the garden, or if I've got too many, I'll see if any friends or family want some to start trying to, you know, have a go at planting in their garden. But yeah, it's not always a guarantee that these seeds are super fresh. And yes, I've got 50, but they may not all germinate. Okay, but as I say, that variety is called Vorma, Varoma Vorma. I'm going to cover those over with compost, and then I've just got 28 cells left to plant some of the Aquadols Claudia, give them a water, and we'll see if they all germinate. And I'll come back to you in a minute, guys, when these are ready to go on the shelf. So they're both done now, guys. Gonna put them on a shelf. They've been watered, and hopefully we'll see what happens. Right, guys, that's it for another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. As today I've done 4 different sowings of broad beans and 1 variety of pea. There's no guarantee that they'll all come up what I've sown, but I've also done enough so that if enough don't come up, at least there should be enough in the cell trays there to give me enough to go out into the garden. So we'll just have to wait and see what the germination rate's going to be like. I've also been out tidying the garden, and there's still lots more to do ready for next year's growing season. So as always, guys, thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching the videos and liking them. I hope, you know, I've given you advice. Hope the videos are kind of interesting, you know, and they don't go on too much. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, then hit the bell, which will tell you when my next video is going to be uploaded. If you've got friends or family that are interested in these kinds of videos, then obviously get them to subscribe to Nick's Veggie Patch. But also, guys, look on my YouTube channel, because I've got other people that I subscribe to that you might like. From people like Charles Dowding to Ben Van Heems to Jesse at Plot 37 and to Hugh Richards. So lots of guys that I follow. Have a look, and I'll see you for another episode. Bye for now, guys.